Count your chickens before they hatch. And, oh, we need two? Okay, my bad. And your heart, or wear your heart on your sleeve. Oh, this is a tough one. We're gonna go with the chickens one, I think. In 3 minutes? Okay.
And go. Seconds. We're at 2 minutes. Two minutes, 30 seconds. Two minutes, 45 seconds.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Have you ever spent your paycheck before you even got it, or spent money from someone that you should have paid to somebody else? I know I have, and I paid for it. Today I'll be going over 3 points as to why you shouldn't count your eggs before they hatch. So number one is eggs don't always hatch. Two, don't this method doesn't always work in history. And three, there is only one time where you should allow yourself to count your eggs. First, your eggs don't always hatch. Let's say you're expecting money for your birthday from your grandma, and you decide, you know what, I'm gonna have my friend buy me this brand new PlayStation, $400. I'll pay him back when I get my money. No big deal. Well, your loving grandma, decides, hey, I'm going to make my grandson a quilt. Well, that's not a $400 quilt, and that's not going to pay for a PlayStation. Unfortunately, your grandmother's decision has hindered what you decided on, and you are now screwed, as the kids call it. So you can't do anything. That's why this method doesn't work even all the time. It's a pretty poor method to base your life off of. And we can back this up by our second point. This doesn't always work in history. We've seen this in many events in history. For example, World War II. The German war machine, as they called it, was driving across Europe at monstrous paces. They took France in 2 weeks. That's ridiculous. And Hitler got this innate wanting to, hey, I can take the rest of Europe. So he decides Russia. That's his next motive. So he decides he's going to attack Russia in the winter when they are most powerful. They know their terrain. They're in winter gear. His German soldiers are not prepared for this type of warfare. But Hitler was counting his eggs and decided that's an egg I want to hatch right now. Now, Mr. Stalin in Russia thought otherwise, and history shows us that the Germans were overwhelmingly defeated in Russia, and that could be a certain cause of why they lost World War II. This is not the only event in history this has happened. It's just one of thousands upon millions of events that have happened. We can look back on even U.S. wars, World War I through Vietnam. Vietnam was a blunder at times because of generals thinking they could take a peek, or men thinking they could drive up a alleyway, but we didn't expect the enemy to be what they were. And finally, the only time one would be able to count their eggs is if you are trying to estimate how much your chickens will eat. If you don't have enough feed for your chickens, now this is quite literal, if you don't have enough feed for your chickens, they will die. So no one wants their chickens to starve. So if you're a chicken farmer, you're going to want to estimate how many chickens you're going to have so you can feed your chickens. This is why being a chicken farmer is a very hard occupation, and not a lot of people do it. And in all seriousness, this quote does not have the biggest significant meaning on that one about literally feeding your chickens, but it does have significance on the whole. You got to be humble in life. You can't go out and try to spout out your ability to do something in life and spend all your assets and then have nothing in the end when things don't go your way every time. I think this quote is a very good lesson for all and should be listened to through all ages, because we as human beings do make mistakes, and this is something that could prevent us from making a really big mistake. So thank you.